Hello, and welcome to another edition of A Lot of Help with James Lott Jr. I am James Lott Jr., the Lott of A Lot of Help. And of course, if you follow any of my shows or anything I do for the last 6 years, the face next to me you've seen before on various things. I'm not going to go through the whole resume and everything that we've done, but on JLJ Media, she is my co-creator and co-host, co-producer for the When Calls to Heart After Show and the When Hope Calls After Show. We do those together. I mean, she's a producer, engineer, extraordinaire, lady boss queen, just author, everything. She's wonderful. My friend, Marisa Serafini. Hello, Marisa.
Hello, hey, James. Thanks for having me.
Of course, having you on this show. And this is an impetus because we're talking about life. And so that's why I brought her on. That's what we do. Everyone, please follow, subscribe, comment, share, link, whatever you got to do. We're on all social media platforms. We're on all streaming services, and we're on YouTube under JLJ Media. And this company is growing. I have over 30 shows that are going on right now. Check us out. I'm changing my life at 51, so I'm trying some stuff. It's really very interesting. And Marisa knows a little bit about that because I've learned a lot of stuff from her. And I want to start with that because I have learned a lot of stuff from you. And it's funny because we're, 20-year age, some age difference or whatever, but you can learn from each other. And a lot of things I've learned from you when you were my producer on many of my shows, especially on Breaking Into, which is a show we did for 4 years. Because it's funny, we've been uploading, and me and Tony Moore, another friend of ours who's creating Audition Days channel, follow Audition Days, that's a channel. We're uploading old episodes and going down memory lane. And I told you the other day, I texted her, he's like, oh, poor Marisa. We put her through a lot of those shows. Because it was Marisa, Alexis Torres, Stephen Egbert, and then Ryan, who basically did our shows. We did a lot of our shows.
Right. But it was like me and Alexis that started you off.
You did. And then Breaking Into it. I used to request her. I was like, I want Marisa. Now, Marisa was big. She had a lot of things to do there, and she did a lot of different shows. So I was always very
honest. That is an understatement.
Say.
Million things to do.
But I was always like, are you doing my show, Marisa? Can I get Marisa? I mean, I just always knew that I was safe with you. I knew that it would get done. It would be done right. You know how to talk to me and my guests. But these are all things I'm taking with me now as I'm doing my own shows with other people that I think are very important. And I want to ask you a question. I don't think I've ever asked you this, ever, and all things we've done together. What have you learned from me?
Oh, gosh, there's so much. How do I pinpoint just one? You're putting me on the spot here.
I know. I don't ever ask you that. I don't ever ask you that, I don't think.
I think, like, what I admire from you and what I, like, by extension, learn from you is, how to manage your energy to certain things. And we've known each other 4 years, and I personally had liked to think that I've had a lot of just natural energy that it was, God-given growing up. And fortunately, my parents had figured out, like, this girl, like, has a lot of energy. We got to keep her busy to do stuff. Just give her something, and she'll expel her energy to whatever it is she's focusing on. And I find out when, like, I found as I was getting older, working all those years at AfterBuzz, my energy was depleting really, really fast. And I was finding I was focusing more energy on one thing, not focusing enough energy on another thing. And then when you come in and you're always saying, like, oh, I have to do this and this and this and this, I'm like, how do you find the energy to do 10 shows a day? Or how to talk to 20 people for 10 straight hours a day? I don't have that energy. So, like, what I learn is more so, what do I really want to focus my energy on? And what can I only afford to focus a little bit of energy and a lot of energy on one thing, a little bit of energy on another thing? It kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you ever seen the movie The Social Network.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I mean, there's a scene where, they're in that boardroom and they're asking Mark Zuckerberg, like, do I have your attention? And he's like, no, because all my attention's here at the offices and my employees working on Facebook, and only a little bit of attention is towards you. Like, how do I commit what's important to me to focus my energy on one thing and what's not important enough to not focus it, So And what I'm learning for you is like, I find that where you focus your energy on is things you're passionate about. Things you don't like, you might spend like 5-10 minutes on. But things you really want to take the time and commit to, you can spend 10 hours doing 10 different shows. I realized I didn't have that because I was only focusing on energy that was for work, that wasn't for me. And I had to find that balance of, okay, what makes me happy and what do I have to do for work, for money, for living, and what do I have to do for Marisa as a person to live a life. And I think that's what I learned most for you, like how do I properly balance energy to what I want and what I don't want.
It's funny.
Answer.
I like that. No, it's funny because I remember just always just sticks out. There was one day you were my engineer for 4 shows. Yes. That was like, I think it was 4 hours, 17
minutes.
That just sticks out in my brain. And I did 4 different shows.
I think that's probably still a record for us.
I think it is. No, it is. And you're right. I mean, I go into, you know me, I go into each show like it's a new show, and I'm into that show, and I talk about it. I talk to that audience, and that's what you do. And then that's what you do. And that's just that's what I do.
Yeah, but that's also something you were passionate about. Yeah. You know, I did AfterBuzz for years, but it was only because it was a job. It wasn't something I was passionate about. I mean, certain things I got passionate about. Like One Calls the Heart, reading books or talking about movies and stuff. When you see me hosting, you can tell what I was passionate about. But if you saw me actually behind the scenes, engineering, organizing, like doing website designing, you can tell I wasn't passionate about it. I knew how to do it. That doesn't make me happy doing it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people, don't see, because everyone only sees our smiles on camera, but they don't see us behind. And they don't actually know like the turmoil that we go through. Like people don't know the agony that like you put yourself through just for, I almost cursed there. Just for a job.
Yeah.
So like you realize like if you're happy on camera, maybe you're not happy behind. And I think that's where a lot of mixed messages get across to like your fans or even to yourself when you fake it till you make it. Just because you're faking happiness doesn't mean you actually are happy.
That's very true. And one of the things that I'm fascinated about you and others who do engineering, and shout out to my girl Brittany from After Party and everybody, all my engineers I've ever had over the years, is that people don't realize you have to listen to the show.
Yeah.
All these shows. And you always said that, and I was always flattered. You would say that at least my shows were mostly interesting. I made them interesting because there are times when you would jump in or I call on you for something, you jump in. Like I try to make mine because I feel like I am performing to you also, to you guys who are the engineers. That's like my gauge plus the audience. You're part of the audience. And so I think I give you props for it. Sometimes you have to sit through shows, I'm sure, and like, oh my, living word. Almost cussed too, a living word.
I know. Oh my God. People only knew, I mean, I think you know now because, we're good friends, but like, I actually hate podcasting. I cannot stand it. And I don't know how I keep getting onto other people's shows.
You do. I know you do.
Keep doing podcasting. It's just like, it's a weird, sick kind of joke, honestly. Like, AfterBuzz ruined podcasting for me for my entire life.
You're going to be laughing.
I have quickly learned what I like to listen to and what I don't like to listen to. And most of the shows at AfterBuzz are things I hated listening to. Politics, reality shows,
I know, right?
Wrestling, F all of you. I hate them. And probably 80 of our shows out of 120 were any of those 3.
Oh, yeah.
And most of the shows I had in engineer were those type of shows because they were like more like produced.
Yes.
They needed like a better producer to help keep a kind of like really tight schedule on those kind of shows. And so I was like, I don't know how, but I was forced to produce all the shows that I hated listening to. And so when you would request me to do your shows, I was like, thank God, something like at least someone I enjoy listening to, or something that I enjoy listening to.
Yeah.
And like, I cannot listen to podcasts anymore.
That makes sense. I know.
My boyfriend loves listening to them, but like the moment we get into his car, I make him turn it off. I was like, I can't. It's ruined for me.
That makes sense.
And that's not me being mean or impatient. That's just me being like, no, I have listened to enough podcasts for the rest of my life, 7 years over. Like 7 times. I was there at AfterBuzz for 7 years, so I've like listened to it like 7 times, like
Wow.
for well, 7 lifetimes. Like I'm done with it. I don't need podcasts in my life. I think I'm just at the point where like it has to be actually absolutely interesting for me to like keep listening to you for 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
Um, and that was the thing at AfterBuzz. Like I was not gonna, and I don't want to seem to like into my horn, but I was one of the best
You were. No,
engineers.
you were.
You know,
I'm saying it, you were. I worked a lot of them. You were.
producing, and that's why they would always stick me to engineering, even though it was soul crushing to me. Every time I had to go into that booth and produce a show that I didn't like listening to,
Yeah.
as simple as it actually was, it was just like, why am I pressing 3 buttons over and over and over again? Where I could be like making a small video or short video of something. Like I kept being dragged into a tiny box to do something I hated rather than being let go and let me do something that I actually enjoyed. And I think that was like over the years, I grew to hate engineering.
Now, let me ask you a question.
A mini therapy session, but it's just like as good as I was, and I think that's the thing is like just because you're good at something doesn't mean you should still keep doing it.
Well, that's my thing. Okay, no, this show is about that because I'm a life coach. This show's about that, so you're great. And that's my next question: is that then how does that feel when you're good at something you're not passionate about it? Because I've had that too. There's certain careers I had that I was really good at them. Well, I hated the f out of them. So I'm just saying. So for you, same thing. You were good at it. I could vouch that she was good at it, but to not really care about it must be really interesting.
I don't know. I think it was something I had to put up with because it was on top of it. It was a job.
Yeah, job.
I was getting paid for it, not a lot, by the way.
Yeah.
But I was still getting paid for it. It was something that was expected of me. It became an obligation. I mean, and there are things obviously in life that you have to do that you don't want to do.
Yes.
But when it comes to actual career, I think it's more something that like don't make it a job. If it's something that you do and you don't like it, then it's a job. If it's something that you do and you love it, then it's a career. Then it's your life. It's your passion. And there's that fine line that like I had to engineer because it was my job. I didn't engineer because I wanted to do it. And I don't know. It's just like I think you have to find the balance of what you have to do because of living and sustainability of life to what you have to do as a person. You have to keep continuing.
Now, I learned this lesson at 40. It took me 40 years to get there. You're way younger than that, and you learned this lesson. So, do you feel? I mean, because you've been out of we've been in a situation going on, of course, but you've been out of that game for now. I would say now a couple of years at this point, right? A couple of years.
Yeah, like a year and a half now.
So, did you learn these lessons? You learned them now. Now that you got out of it, did all the lessons come to you about this? All the things you're just saying.
Oh wait, I knew all that stuff when I was still at AfterBuzz.
Wow. Okay.
It was stuff like that I was very well aware of it, and I think that's why I was getting more impatient with it over the years because I knew I hated doing it so much.
Got it.
And it was like slowly killing me, but I kept doing it. And it's amazing what you can put yourself, like what you can put your mind to keep doing and your body mentally, how far you can push yourself to keep doing something you hate or something that's uncomfortable. I mean, you see movies or like real life and stuff. People get shot and they can still move their bodies. They can like still keep going and climbing up the hill. It's amazing what the mind and body can do when you push it.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah, but it's also scary, like how far you can push it because then you start losing yourself.
And you don't realize it at first. I mean, even I'm a smart person, but there were times when I didn't realize I was losing myself until I was already in it, and I was like, "Ooh, I have a stomachache every day." And I tell the story all the time. I mean, before I quit and made the big change at 40, I had a stomach ache every day as I walked to that job in San Francisco, and I still didn't catch it that that's what it was at first. I was like, oh, my stomach hurts. Did I eat something wrong, or is that too much coffee? Like all that kind of stuff. And it was like, no, I almost cussed myself again. No, MFR. It's not that. It's because you're not happy. Your body's trying to tell you something, and you're not listening to it, right?
That was me. And me and you saw me. The last 2 years I was at after. I was sick every other month. I mean, like, and I'm a very physically active person. I take care of my body. I don't eat a lot of junk food, like not anymore.
Chocolate, that's it.
Yeah, chocolate. Some fast food here and there. Yeah. But like, I was getting sick because I was pushing myself. Like, I was working and working and working. I was like, just another day. Gotta just push through.
I bring her lunch. I bring her orange juice. I mean, I'll be like, you need anything? I'm coming in.
Stuff. Like, you saw me like sick as a dog.
I did.
Still working.
I did.
It was the last year when I was at AfterBuzz, and you said I was kind of quiet about it because it's kind of gross. But like and I wrote this whole.
You did. I know.
But you talk about stomach issues. My stomach was killing me. I was eating like a loaf of bread, which is like just a small, but like my stomach was distended. It was bad, and I was like 107 pounds.
Right.
And I was like, something seriously wrong. If I eat one little bite, my stomach is like expanding to an unhealthy like size. So like seriously, I looked like 3 months pregnant. It was bad. I finally checked myself into a hospital to get it checked out. They said it was cancer, and then like that started a whole like bad thing. Yeah. Like and then checked into myself to another hospital, and then finally I fortunately got a second opinion. They're like, it's not cancer, it's stool impaction. Because of stress, because I wasn't eating properly. I couldn't go to the bathroom on time at AfterBuzz. I should have prefaced that at the beginning of the year at work that we now created this stupid policy that if you see your coworker engineering a show and they leave the booth, they leave their show that's going on for more than 5 minutes, you are entitled to write them up. Like literally write up your employee, have them sign it, and then you send it off to the executive producer, and they read all of your all the write-ups that you get against you. So they're kind of like demerits, or like like demerits or detention. There's so many you have. The more write-ups you have, the more likely you are to get fired. Yeah. And it didn't matter for like whatever seniority you had or whatnot. So we're like, well, we're in a booth for 8 to 9 hours a day. We have to leave to go to the bathroom. But if you leave for more than 5 minutes, your coworker can write you up and say you weren't there. So I wasn't eating, I wasn't drinking, because drinking a bottle of water would cause me to go to the bathroom to be gone for more than 5 minutes, and then someone would write me up. So I wasn't drinking properly. I was dehydrated, and that was causing my stomach issues because I wasn't having proper bowel movements because of water. And then so like all this stress was killing my stomach. So I understand when jobs are physically making you ill, you listen to them. My body was shutting down on me. My intestines were literally in a knot. They were my intestines were pushed to my left side. Nothing was on my right side. They were so messed up. And my doctor was like, this is a problem we only see in elderly patients, from like 60-year-olds and up. I was 28 at the time. 28 at the time. They're like, a young, healthy 28-year-old shouldn't be having this problem. I had 3 doctors tell me that I should leave my job because it was causing me this frustration.
Yeah.
And like when your friends tell you to leave, they're like, yeah, sure, whatever. But when doctors tell you to leave,
a little serious.
Then you should. When 3 doctors tell you should leave, then you should. You should probably think about, hey, maybe this job isn't so great for me.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I'm all about listening to your body. I mean, I learned that a couple of years ago. I always think that, this time 2 years ago, my face was paralyzed. So I was like at home, not doing anything. It's all from stress. Stress is a silent killer, and stress really can mess up your life. And you have to really look at And that's when you're forced to look at what you're doing. And with COVID and with the whole social distancing and all the industries are shutting down for now, and then we're not at a normal at all right now. You were talking the other day, and one of it's for doing the show, is that you say you're doing a lot more walking because we're not really going anywhere anymore for leisure. We're going to get something from the store, leave, pick up food, come home. Like we're not really going out to dinner or whatever. So what are some things you've been learning about yourself just during this time? Because now you're not driving as much, not doing things as much. Like, what are you learning?
I'm definitely not driving because the last time I filled up my car, like on a full tank, was April. And I've only used a half a tank since. And it's August now. It's been like 3 months since.
Yeah.
4 months since the last time I filled up. So it's been a while. Yeah, so I'm definitely not driving anywhere. What I've learned, well, like, you know, I've always been physically active. And I think when you're stuck somewhere, you tend to do things you probably wouldn't do if you were there for only an hour. But if you're there for 10 hours, you might do it. Say eating, you know? Shoot, I've been eating a lot. And I'm like, crap, this has never been me. You know me, I don't eat.
I know, you don't. I know, you don't.
And like the food is just there. I want to eat it because I'm bored. I understand how obesity happens so quickly.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I, you know, I kind of fell into that trap for like 2 months. I gained weight. And I'm like, you know what, let's cut back. Let's work out again. And you now have time to run. Because, like, when I was working at AfterBuzz or, like, any other job, I'm trying to get away from this. But, you know, just working in general with the LA commute and stuff, I only had maybe time to go to the gym for maybe 1.5 hours, if I'm lucky, a couple times a week.
Wow.
That's it. So altogether, maybe work out 3 hours, which isn't a lot if you think about it. But now that I'm home and I'm just chilling, I have no excuse that I can't put in a workout DVD. I can't go for a walk. I can't go for a 3-mile run in less than an hour. Like, I don't have an excuse. So I had to, like, drill that into me. Like, you now have the time to properly take care of your body. 2 years ago, a doctor said you were going to die.
You're right.
Like, now let's prove to them that you're not. And, like, I had to drill that into myself. Like, Marisa, you're young. You have the energy. You still have the energy. You still have the body. Go do it. It's going to suck for an hour, but it's going to feel better when you're 20 years older. Yeah. You're going to thank yourself so much that you took the 20-minute walk 20 years later, you know? So it's stuff like that, like, I had to force myself do things that I didn't have time to do.
And in the coaching world, I coined a phrase that, you know, that Laffa used. We call it looking out for your tomorrow self. It's kind of like what you do today will affect change tomorrow, and tomorrow meaning 6 months from now, a year from now. And it's like, and I think I'm fortunate because I was a very active, at your age, I was dancing 4 nights a week. I was out there doing so. I had 3-4 jobs. And I was raising children. So I was very active. I think that has saved me today at 51. I think at some level that has, you know, you have a lot of energy. I've always had a lot of energy. But I think that's what it was. If I didn't take care of myself when I was younger, I'd probably be paying for it now. I know friends who are paying for it now. They really are. And I feel bad for them. They're in their 40s and 50s and they can't move. They have all these health issues. And there's some things that happen that just happen. There's some things like they're genetic or whatever that just happen. But there's some things we can avoid. There are things we can work on. I did marathons in my 40s. I did 3 marathons in my 40s. I mean, I was like, I'm going to try it. I'm going to do this. And that's that.
I'm doing a 10K right now.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Well, so how was it? So are you training for that right now?
Yeah, I'm training for it now because I always did 5Ks. 5Ks are easy. They're only 3.1 miles. Like,
oh yeah.
I used to crush 5Ks. Like, I think my fastest time was 27 something. Like, I used to be awesome at 5Ks. And I was like, it got to the point where 5Ks weren't a challenge anymore.
3 miles, folks. We'll say over 3 miles.
Yeah, 3 miles. And fortunately, some of my best friends, they got me a Garmin fitness watch for my birthday.
Yes.
And you know, it's actually been one of the best things because it can tell you like how many steps you're doing compared to your friends. Like if you're lazy today, it tells you to move. Like my friend did 20,000 steps yesterday. Shoot, I better do 20,000 steps today. You know, it
Yeah.
kind of like mentally, it psychologically, it kind of like pushes you even more.
Yeah.
And it has the Garmin Fitness can set you up for training programs. I was like, I've been doing 5Ks for the last 3 months. I'm gonna do a 10K because I haven't actually taken the time to push myself to properly train for a 10K. And this, program allows me to do that, and it makes me run 4 times a week. Like no, 2 days ago, I had to do a 3.5 mile run, and which is fine. Like I've gotten to the point, like my conditioning has been great. And now like next week I'm supposed to do a 5 mile run. In a month I'm supposed to hit my 10K, and I think it's good because it's stuff like this that I didn't have during or the beginning of the coronavirus, that like I only had myself to motivate me. But when I have an external force and my friends also pushing me to just get out of the house and move for an hour, even that helps with the success of like keeping your goals going.
I agree with that. Having accountability buddies, they call them sometimes, or just people you just do it together, that does make a difference. I I did marathons with people, so same thing. We were all training. I joined a pacer group, so pacing, and I tell them all the time. And I look at my medals. They're hanging behind me. They're all over there. They're all hanging there. I'm very proud. I thought it was for other people that me do a marathon, and I'm 42 years old. Like that's crazy. But no, it's not crazy. It really isn't. It's not a crazy thing to do. And you just start small steps. You start step by step. That's like in anything in life. That's why you say that. Just keep doing it. You have friends, and just little steps, and then literally you will get there.
Right. And I think it's step by step, mile by mile. Whitney Houston.
I know. I was thinking the same thing, of course. She had a birthday recently, so happy birthday to her.
It's like all this conditioning, all this running. Like I feel better. I physically feel better than I did at the beginning of this COVID. Like my stamina, it has been great. My energy has been great. I'm sleeping so much better. Like working out really does do wonders for you. And I hate to be like that preachy person.
Yeah, I know. It's true.
But it is true. And I feel like even I'm walking more, like I'm not getting tired after walking 4 miles. Like my conditioning is great. And this watch also like tells me what my resting heart rate, which is 52, which is low. It's like that's super healthy. It told me my cardiovascular age. It says I have a heart of a 20-year-old. And I just turned 30, so like I already feel 10 years younger.
Yeah.
But like that's only the difference over a course of like 2-3 months. And in like, yeah, a lot of people were like, how do I make a change? It's going to take so long. But it's like, you'd be surprised how short of amount of time it takes for you to actually get into the rhythm of something.
I agree. And also, time goes by fast, folks. It really does. When you're not thinking about time. It's fast. It's already August, girl. We're already mid-August.
We just, we started talking via, Zoom, like when this COVID started happening. And I remember that conversation, eating ice cream. But it's
Exactly.
crazy.
It is. It goes by so fast. And like I said, we're like at month 5 at this point of this whole thing. And it's like, so we don't think about time and just do the time. Like you said, you'll wake up and you're like, oh, I'm doing this. And that's what it was when I did marathons. It really was that. I was doing the training. It was like, we go this far, then we go this far, and then we go this far. Like they literally pace you through it. And then when it came time to do the marathon, I was nervous. I did my first one was the San Francisco Marathon. So we had to go through Golden Gate Park, and then it was really pretty route actually too. We ended at Embarcadero. But I remember thinking as I was doing it, this is a result of all those steps, all those days that I trained for like 6 months. That's what it was for. And so now putting it into practice. And so I felt proud. Now that last mile was my first one was my hardest. I hurt myself, but I dragged my dead foot through that finish line because all that training, all that time, all that energy I put into it, it meant something at that point. It was like, I don't care if I have to take off my foot and walk through it with my hands. I saw that finish. I was going to finish it, and I did. And there was a satisfaction of just completion of something.
Exactly, and like kudos to you. I haven't done a marathon. I haven't even done a half marathon, you know? Like, hell, even this 10K, I'm like, shit, man, I don't want to run 5 miles today, you know? Like, I don't want to run 6 miles. It's stuff like that. But it's like, but once you get over that hump of like, just do it, you know? Just put on your shoes, put on your clothes, you know, put on your headphones, go outside and just start moving. Like once you get over that initial like hump and then you actually get the body moving, you're like, okay, shoot. All right, an hour has passed. I'm already halfway through this, you know, or something like that. And you're like, well, why did it make such a fuss where I spent more energy resisting it than actually doing it?
Well, because you know the answer. The answer is that we a lot of times will talk ourselves out of everything. We'll find every excuse. Trust me, I can find 10,000 excuses not to do something.
Oh, I
Easy.
know.
But we have to fight that as humans, to fight that. And I know this is just a great lesson for everything in our lives. So I'm going back to leaving jobs, going back to doing jobs, anything we're doing, we can talk ourselves in and out of anything. That's what's so amazing. Our brain's just like, well, I can't do it today. Just, you know, my part of my leg hurts today, kind of. It doesn't really hurt that way. Or it's a little too hot today, or it's a little too cold, or you know, I was out late last night. I don't want to go do it right now. Like, and you make all these excuses, and then meanwhile, nothing happens, and then you're unhappy because nothing's happening. But you're in control of what your happiness could be. So,
Right. And I think it's like you have to just get over that initial push. You know, this is like the first push is the hardest, but once you're like get it in motion, then you can just keep going. You know,
yeah.
it's
That's my lesson for most people. It's just like they get afraid. I want to do a podcast or I want to do a web show, but I just don't like. Well, let's get it started. Once we get it started, the momentum going, then you're like, oh, okay, and then you start getting into it, something you really want to do. But yeah, starting. I've noticed in all my organizing and my life coaching, that is the biggest
the
obstacle.
hardest. Getting started, and the first day is always the hardest, no matter what it is, because you have to get the kinks out of like any type of thing you're trying to learn or do. Like the first day is always hardest, but once you get that, you're like, oh, you can learn and then move forward and like how to improve upon it and stuff like that. And it's like that 5.5 mile run I did like 2 weeks ago. I did not want to do that. Trust me, I didn't. Like it was 7 a.m. in the morning. You think I want to start my day on a 5.5 mile run? No.
Right.
But when I looked at my time after I did it, and I looked at my time, all my splits were great. Like I was like they were all negative splits for 5 miles. I started at like 12:30, then I went to like 11:40, and I got faster every mile. And I was so hesitant at the beginning of that morning. I was like, I don't want to do this, and it ended up being my fastest run out of all the runs I've done for the past 2 miles or like 2 months. That was my fastest run.
Well, I'll tell you something. I got down the lowest fastest I got to, and I'm still proud of it. I don't care. I didn't find was 13-minute miles. I got to 13 minutes. And for me at 47 years old, who had never done this before, was never a runner or anything like that, I was proud of myself. I said, I'm going to take that. And I finished within the time. I was one of the ones at the end, but I wasn't very end, but I was one. I finished. And that's the point. And that's what I'm trying to get to. It's like, that's the point, is that I still completed it within the time. I got my medal. And even if I didn't, it still didn't matter. If I still finished it, that's I can say, you know, Marisa, I finished a marathon. And I can say that no one can take it away from you. It's yours the rest of your life. And you get the satisfaction just of knowing of starting something that was really hard and daunting and scary and literally walking through it and completing it. And I think that's what people do more of. They're afraid to start. It's like they go, what if this happens? What if that may happen? You and I both know technical things happen all the time. Guests drop out the last minute. I remember Tony was saying that he put up a show. He goes, you did an episode just days by yourself. I go, yeah, because the guest last minute couldn't make it, and the show must go on. It was literally like 5 minutes of showtime, and Marissa and I like, just do it. She set up the camera a certain way, so I'll just do it on a wide shot or whatever, and we did it. I said, that's kind of, we know how it is. You have to roll the punches.
Like I did that one episode of When Calls the Heart without you.
That's right.
You know what? I still made it work. It sucked, but I still made it work. People still tuned in.
I did.
And I even like tweeted or Instagram afterwards. I was like, we got through it.
I mean, we know. That's the thing. People need to just remember that just stuff happens. It just happens. I mean, and it's okay, and you'll be fine. And like right now, especially, we're on an even playing field. Zoom has everybody from networks to us on an even playing field. So now, stuff happens. I mean, it's just not a big deal at all. But
and like I had to realize. Sorry, not to cut you off.
oh, please, no, please, go ahead.
Due to COVID, like I think all of us were like, "What the hell is gonna happen?"
Yes.
Like what? I mean, I was working 2 awesome jobs that was paying me a lot of money. They both immediately stopped.
Yep.
And I was like, what? All this money that was coming in, like suddenly wasn't coming in. And I was like, how am I get? How long is this gonna last? How am I gonna keep living without, working and stuff like that? So like, I had to like realize what I couldn't control and what I could. It's like I fortunately smart enough with my finances. I have a good nest egg. I can still keep living a fairly comfortable life. Obviously cut back on some things, but I was like, I'm in a better position than a lot of people in this country dealing with COVID. I don't have children. I don't have people to take care of. All my money goes straight to me. It doesn't go straight to anybody else. So like, I'm already in better places financially for other people during this COVID, and I had to like remind myself, I'm not the only one that's getting effed over here.
Right. Right.
Like it's the whole world that's getting effed over right now. Yeah. And I had to like keep reminding myself. And I'm like, granted, there have been several meltdowns.
Oh yeah, I've had them too. I've had them.
Like I don't know how I can keep doing this.
Yeah, I've had it. I had them.
And I'm sure not the only one.
No.
But like I had to keep reminding myself, I'm in a better place than a lot of other people in the world are. And you're still living, you're still healthy, you're still breathing, you still have money, you're still good. And I had to like take that 10 minutes to like calm myself down and remind myself that before I like start freaking out again. And it's stuff like that I had to like really be patient with myself. Like I can't control this. I can't control this. I can control this and how I feel about it, but I can't control how it actually happens in the world.
And that's a lesson we're going to end the show on, because I think that's the evolution of having to figure stuff out, starting, and then realizing you're only in control of so much. I mean, so it's life. Life is life, and and sometimes it's chaos and disorder, and sometimes everything lines up perfectly. I mean, it's just either or. And for me, it's freeing. For me, it's just a freeing thing that I know that ups and downs are always going to come and happen, and it could be a little small down, or a really low down, or it could be really high up. So you just never know. I mean, it's just one of those things you just never know. But you have to just keep going. You just gotta keep going and have the meltdowns, have the crying sessions. I had a bottle of wine the other night. I need a bottle. I'm telling you, I drank the bottle, and I was like, that's fine. I was by myself. I wasn't driving nowhere, so I'm like, I'm fine.
Right. I mean, like during the times I had breakdown, I eat my dairy-free ice cream. Through it, I feel like shit right now. Yeah. Because this makes me feel better. I'll run it off tomorrow or something like that. But like sometimes you just need to take those moments where like you have to just feel it.
Yes.
And then you move on.
Yes. And I meditate every morning. So from 7 to 8 in the morning, I meditate every single morning. I've been doing it since COVID, and it has changed my life. So that's one people out there. Think about meditation, and you can do meditate in any form. You can meditate in any form.
And if you can't meditate, find something that's therapeutic.
I agree.
Like I'm walking every single morning for like an hour, and I find that's been very therapeutic for me. Yeah. So it's like if you can't meditate, do something that at least makes you feel good.
I like that. Thank you, Marisa Serafini, for being on the show.
Thank you, James, for the therapy session.
Yes, I love it. This is what we do here on A Lot of Help with James Lott Jr., and hopefully we helped a lot. Okay, Marisa, tell folks where they can find you on the social medias.
Everyone can follow me at Serafini TV.
That's right. It's very simple. And you can find me where all James Lott Jr.'s are sold, at James Lott Jr. and all social media platforms and TikTok, folks. I'm on there. And JLJ Media is growing and expanding. And literally, I have like 30 shows of all kinds of stuff on there. Go to JLJ Media on any social media platform. And then on any streaming service, hit the follow or subscribe buttons. Some have follow, some say subscribe. So it depends. And in YouTube, it's subscribe. So follow the subscribe button. It's JLJ, James Lott Jr. Not easy to find, very easy to find. Follow us there. I have some great shows that I'm not even on some of them. So some great hosts doing things. And check out our, if you're a Hardy or a Hallmarky, check out our shows we do. They're up there for When Calls the Heart After Show and When Hope Calls After Show. We're still waiting for a season 2 answer for When Hope Calls. We don't know yet.
We're ready for it.
But When Calls the Heart is filming, so they're filming.
It's filming right now. There you go.
They're filming right now, and they're back. And all my soap shows.
They're figuring out a way to make it work.
They're figuring it out. And the same with the soaps. The soaps are back to you, and they're filming also. They're social distancing on camera. It's very interesting to watch. They're using blow-up dolls on Bold and Beautiful. Very interesting. It's very interesting, Marissa. As a producer, I would love to see what you thought. I should send you a piece of a scene and tell me if you catch everything that we catch on our after show. We're like, that's not the real person. That wig is like, it's really a chip. But they're trying. They're trying, though. They're trying to give us the other.
And that's the beauty of movie magic. Like, you can only set one person on camera and make it look like you're talking in front of
exactly. That's what they're doing. So When Calls the Heart, the soaps are doing. So I have soap after shows on Soap Sundays here on JLJ Media. But everybody, thank you so much for watching or listening. Please wash your hands, wear a mask in public, and have compassion for each other.